Myself and Balram, myself and Balram went to the Woodley Park Library many times. Now we had to walk along the public road. Jyoti Cinema was not there yet, was it? I was in Standard 3. I did not know Balram before that. So now do you know Balram? Yes, I know him. We were in the same class. 1 year, Standard 3, that's it. I didn't know him before that. He lived on my grandmother's street, but I didn't know him before that. Right? That's the truth. If I knew him, I didn't know his name or where he lived. I knew his father since I was like one because he was in the kitchen with my uncles from I came back from America. If they did, God knows where they came from when they said they came back from America. They were deported. When they deported, they were deported. Uh, Maybe my father was were deported too. We were probably day workers, right? Criminals. Maybe we were all the way in Ontario, Toronto. Why would you be there? Day workers, domestic or something, right? So I knew Balren in Standard 3. I knew about the dinosaurs since then because they had books about dinosaurs in the library, Woodley Park Library. Maybe I knew about evolution too. And now most of us that went to school knows that South America and Africa were once one landmass. And most of us now know that Chile down to Argentina is a cliff high up, more or less a straight area, whereas Brazil is some big boobs into the Atlantic with stringy feet going down to Argentina, shape wise, right? Shaped almost like a hatchet, right? With the handle being in the west coast and the blade being Brazil and that area. So we know the bulge is in that area because it's from the Pacific, Colombia, all the way to Brazil, right? Up and down the longitude. Now, if you look at Africa, the bulge that will go over that part that I just spoke about seems to be closer to us over the Atlantic. I don't know if it's true. I should have checked it before because I couldn't tell which is the east coast and which is the west coast of Africa. Now, the east coast of South America would be where Brazil and Suriname meets the Atlantic, right? Now, Africa is across Atlantic because the triangular trade was across Atlantic. We can remember that too, right? So you remember this, you remember that, you remember that, then you're able to formulate the bigger picture, right? Such as gravitational potential energy in the kinetic motion driving the alternator to give me electric current, right? The perpetual gravity machine to generate electricity. It's gravity that causes the rain to fall on us, right? And not go up into space. So now we also know that north of the equator is England, and England is between Canada and Europe, somewhere in that area. Is that where it is? It has to be. It's not on the Pacific coast. A very small part of England is in the eastern hemisphere. Very small part. Because they try to make it that England is in the western hemisphere. There's northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere too, right? You see what I'm saying? It depends on how you slice the globe. Imaginarily, right? So now I'm thinking, you can think like that too and find out things. For example, what does square root mean? I know the square root of 4 is 2, and I know the square root of 9 is 3, and I know the cube root of 8 is 2. So how do I write square root 1/2, right? And how do I write cube root 1/3, right? As exponents? You have to help me to think. You see what I'm saying? Now, your teacher doesn't help you to think. Your teacher tells you. Then she has to think. And she tells you. She doesn't teach you to think. She teaches you to remember, right? Your teacher. You have to be taught how to think.
Alex?